It's Christine, owner and co-founder of PrettySpirits.com, your favorite online metaphysical shop. And on this channel, we talk all things spirituality, manifestation, and entrepreneurship. And on today's episode, I want to talk about processing rejection and some ways that you can incorporate to make the process a bit better. This goes for rejection when you are in a relationship and that has to come to an end, romantic, friendship, or a family member that you no longer can engage with. Whether it's a job opportunity that you thought was going in your favor and maybe you didn't get the promotion or the job, or in situations where you feel rejected by someone that you weren't close to, but it still stung. Maybe a customer service representative was just rude to you, or you feel like someone passing by just gave you a strange look and judged you. But those feelings of not being accepted and instead feeling abandoned or just cast to the side, I want to talk about how to deal with that energy today. The first thing that I would suggest you do is really understand why people project. Why people project. And what I mean by that is people have their own issues going on. They have situations that have happened in their past that they carry forward, that they have not forgiven. And they can project that pain and that irritability, that frustration towards you. So a lot of times when we face rejection, a level of that rejection could be tied to the person's inability to release the past in some way. So if this is a situation where you are running into a stranger and you just feel like what they gave you was so rude, so disrespectful, you feel like they just disregarded you as a person and rejected you, what you had to say, what you were looking for, and you internalize it and take it personally, take a moment to understand that that person did not know you. They don't know the depths of who you are, why you're asking for what you're asking for, your thought process behind things. So how could this be personal to you? It's clearly a projection of something that that other individual is processing or avoiding. So taking a moment to understand, okay, this is a moment where you really don't know who I am. You don't understand me or my thought process and why I was asking for something or why I had a certain expectation level. You don't know me. So how can I say that this is a personal attack? It may be still disrespectful. It may be hurtful, but really at the core of it, it's something that you don't want to adopt. You don't want to adopt whatever thought pattern that they had, whatever irritations that they were carrying forward. You want to remain in a place of balance, understanding that you are able to free yourself of this toxic experience by saying, hey, your problem, not mine. Develop some type of mantra so you can give the issue back to the person who is trying to dump it on you. It's your issue, not mine. Many times in situations like that, especially when it comes to dealing with rude people in the world, if it's just someone you're passing by, you really don't have to allow it to affect the rest of your day. If it's someone in customer service or wait staff, you can ask to have someone else help you out. And you can do these things without giving so much attention to this person, whether through complaining about it, getting up in arms and gossiping about it with families or friends. It's just something that does not have to continue to exist in your reality. And I encourage you to understand this because through law of attraction, the more emotional tie you give to that experience, the more it has an opportunity to revisit you in a different form in another way. I just don't want you to keep repeating poor experience just because someone else decided to project their past hurt onto you. So really remember that when processing that style of rejection. When it comes to love, dating someone, being married to someone, and then having that person just not be as present in the connection. Maybe they are rejecting you in a sense of not honoring your emotional state and what you were really feeling at the time. You feel like their rejection was just not an acknowledgement of your emotions, of what you are really going through. And so you take that really, really hard. In this situation, I would say it is important to understand that not everyone emotes the same way as you, and not everyone has the same love language as you have. So where you may think that, oh, I am doing this gesture to show someone I care, or oh, I said it like this because maybe I was raised to express myself in this way. The other person, if they're not trained in their own way to receive what you're saying or receive what you're doing in a particular way, they're going to react differently. They're going to react based on their upbringing, what they've seen, and what they've done. And it's not always going to be pleasing or in alignment with what you expect of them. So in this type of situation, when you feel your feelings or your gesture has been rejected, I encourage you to feel your feelings, because I am not saying or wanting you to be dismissive of what you're processing when someone has that level of rejection. But instead, I want you to take a beat. Just take a moment. Instead of going right to reacting, being hurtful, crying, yelling, just being displeased, storming off. Instead of doing these actions, just take a moment to think about how empowering it would be to just say, all right, this is something I own. I own what I was giving, and I can't own the reaction. Those are two separate things. So instead, let me figure out a different strategy for still giving what I am trying to give, but in a way that the person can better understand. And if this will take some time for you better processing the other person's best way of receiving, then take some time and get to know your partner better, the person you're dating better, your husband, your wife better. Really take time to step back and say, if this is the ultimate outcome that I seek, what is the best path for me to get there? Treat it like work, treat it like a project, instead of just assuming because this is love, it should be easy. I should give and they should be happy and grateful. I should say how I feel and they should be there and supportive. It is not as cut and dry. You're dealing with so many different personality types, and it's not a very organic experience for someone else to always operate from your frame of reference. All right? So give them that time and that consideration. And you may find that that person also is seeing this adjustment within you and wants to get better at how they receive and how they really show up for you. When it comes to rejection on a deeper level, where someone is saying they no longer want the relationship, they no longer want the marriage, they no longer want the love that you are offering, I definitely understand how painful this can be. I was in a very long relationship during college, from the beginning of college into years after we graduated. And it was definitely one that I invested so much of myself into. But there were levels that just were not in alignment with the ultimate place that I wanted to go, because there was so much growth that had happened. And so I can say, from the person's standpoint of that needed to do the rejecting, that it wasn't me saying he was bad or he wasn't good enough or anything like that. It was me understanding that I had changed, my value system had changed, what I needed from someone had changed, and I needed to explore what that meant for me. So it was more of an act of just grace and compassion towards myself, to rediscover this person without judgment, without beating up on myself and saying, no, you've given this many years, you need to keep giving years to this person. I had to acknowledge the honesty of the circumstance, that it just wasn't gelling in the way that would serve us both. Understand that it's not always an easy decision for someone who has to walk away. Some people may seem on the surface way more impulsive with it. They may seem more cold, more callous, just more infuriating overall. But a lot of times there's a scared person on the other side of that. There's someone who's nervous. There's someone who wants to people please and continue to give to you. There's so many different levels happening in that rejection period, that it isn't just about you. It isn't someone just trying to hurt you or abandon you, there's another human that is just trying to figure this whole thing out as well. And they don't feel that either their confusion or that their journey really should entangle both of you guys and make it even more convoluted. So I know that there are so many that have been broken up with or have had to end things, and both sides have so much that they're processing and dealing with, that this period of time of rejection is oftentimes just this human experience that's happening to inspire feelings of exploration in both parties, so you guys can figure out what it is that best serves you. So in a situation like this, it's uncomfortable as hell. It is very, very hurtful and draining, and just really, really, it takes a toll on your mind, your mental health, your emotional health. But I would ask of you to take a moment and imagine someone who is ready to really honor you where you are, to give you all that you have been asking for, all that you desire, in a real, authentic way. Sitting with that moment for a second, I want you then to compare it to being with someone who is either forcing it, staying with you out of guilt, just doing it because they don't want to be alone. I feel that that form of deceit and fear to stay with someone, that to me is even worse than walking away and rejecting someone, because it is not based in being authentic and being true. So think that maybe this person in rejecting you wasn't trying to make you feel less than, but instead freeing you and giving you the ultimate opportunity to find someone who is ready, to find someone that is so excited to have you, instead of holding you back from that experience. I also want to say, when it comes to rejecting within love, that a lot of times when we allow for the experience to happen and when we allow for the healing to take place, we sometimes down the road realize what a blessing. And I say sometimes because of course there are people that really refuse to see the gifts that came from this change, and that may want to harbor that resistance or that blame towards that other person. But I genuinely feel the other experiences, the other times that a person accepts what has happened and allows for that growth to happen, it really is wow, like a wow awareness moment when they're able to connect with a new love that feels amazing, that feels way more natural than their past, or where they're able to move across country, change locations, or do something completely different, or adopt a child, or do things that they could not do with that person because the differences were so intense. So allow your needs to be met. The universe hears what you're calling out for, but if you cling to the familiar, you'll never receive those opportunities. Rejection has to happen in order to kind of like cut it. Since you won't walk away, the other person sometimes has to lead the charge, but ultimately there wasn't a fit any longer. It served its purpose, and now it's time to move forward. When it comes to a different type of rejection within career, you trying to go for a certain promotion, or you wanting a certain job role and you're competing with other applicants, you not getting it is not a sign that you are not worth it. It's just a sign that this opportunity, it's not the best fit for you. And if you maintain that strong story of this wasn't it, but something else is, something even better, something even more powerful and fulfilling, you processing this rejection in that way can really allow law of attraction to work in your favor and to bring forth the financial opportunities, the creative experiences, the deeper purpose that you have been calling in. So when you face this type of rejection in the workplace, in the workforce, or maybe you're receiving rejection because you've tried to pitch an idea or get funding within your business because you're an entrepreneur. Maybe you feel like you've been rejected by potential customers because they're really not buying like you envisioned they would. Take a step back and understand that this form of rejection can really teach you about reframing your story, really working on certain parts of your gifts to bring even more to the table so that when it is time to apply again, promote again, or to really step up and ask for what you've been desiring within career, that you have an even better opportunity to shine brighter than before. Don't take the rejection as a complete dead end, a wall that's built. It's just a stop sign. You know, at a stop sign, you stop there, you pause for a bit, you check directions, and then you continue forward. That is what you are to do within career. The more that you don't drop beneath that line and you realize the purpose of the rejection versus taking it in so personally that you aren't worthy, you'll never get it right, people don't see you, they just don't get it. You can be there for a bit, but if you can climb out of that as soon as possible, you can get back to the alignment of, wow, this served me. I understand it served me. I can't see it just yet. I can't put my finger on it as I may want to in this moment, but I know because universe is abundant and there are no firmly closed doors. There's just experiences that put a pause on it and then show me a new way of operating so I can be even more optimal for what is to come. All right, guys, these are some ways to deal with and process rejection. I hope that you really gain from this. We all go through rejection at one point or another, but we are still powerful, wonderful, beautiful beings, so we don't have to sit and wallow in that space. Thank you so much. If you have other ways to process rejection, you want to share them, definitely comment below. Remember to like and subscribe. Share this video with someone who you feel it can help. The conversation doesn't have to end here. If you want to follow me on Instagram, you can find me at Pretty Spirits Co. And if you would like to schedule a session, whether that's coaching or psychic reading, please visit www.prettyspirits.com and book a session with me. Thank you so much for your time today, and until next time.